I'm Shannon from See What I Saw Woodworking. The table saw is probably the most dangerous tool you can have in your shop. A lot of people have lost a lot of fingers. I'm actually an ER nurse and I've seen a lot of these people in the ER. Fortunately, I still have all 10 of mine. I just got a new jig for my table saw from Jessam. It's a great jig. I'll show you some pictures of that here in just a second. And when I put it on, one problem I noticed is I'm having difficulty using a push stick to push my wood all the way through the table saw. Well, being necessity is the mother of invention, I decided, hey, I'm going to go ahead and create something that equates to a built-in push stick for the table saw. So I think it's a really great design. I'm going to put it out there and share it with you guys so you guys can decide if you want to put it on your saw, but I think it's a really neat invention. So I would like you guys to take a look at my video here and see what you think. I used to have a device like this on the table saw. It sat up on the saw. It was kind of bulky, it was kind of clumsy. It worked well, but it got in the way a lot, so I found I wasn't using it a whole lot. So what I wound up doing is I got rid of this, and I got this new setup from Jessam. The setup from Jessam here is kind of nice because it allows you to run your wood through. It keeps it nice and tight to the fence. And if you notice from the top, the wheels are cantilevered in at a 5-degree angle. So as you slide your wood through, it not only holds it down tight to the table, but it also holds it in tight to the fence. It's a great little device, but the problem being is when you go to use a push stick to go through, obviously you're going to run into the back. You're not going to be able to run it through. Even with a thin push stick, you're going to have to run the push stick through and then go up on top and run it over, which gets your hand close to the blade, which I don't like. So I decided I'm going to create a little device that's going to equate to a built-in push stick. Now my fence is a Bismeyer fence, and you'll notice it's a nice wide beefy fence. If yours isn't wide, don't worry about it. You can actually just put on a piece of wood and mount whatever you need to on it, whether it be a single rail or if you want to go with the double rail that I've got right now. This single rail here is that I bought from woodshopsupply.com, has the insert, which is about a 7 7/8 inch piece that goes through it. So the device I built is this piece right here, which is really simple to make. It just took me a couple hours to whip up. This is just a piece of some scrap walnut that I had laying around. I took a 1/4 inch rod, I threaded both ends. I put it on with a nylon lock nut so that this here still can travel up and down, and came across over here. This is just a piece of black plastic, which you can often buy in the stores, at woodworking stores. Here's a piece of white plastic. I had a piece of thick black plastic, so I wound up using that. Now, to make this piece, you'll see from the bottom that on this channel, it gets a little narrower at the top, and so I had to trim up a little bit in order to clear the channel. So I just trimmed that up with the table saw. From the sides here, I wound up drilling through, putting a little handle on the top. On the bottom of the jig, there are pre-made screw holes that are 1/4 by 20, I believe, which the handle goes into, but then I also drilled a few more. I tapped them out with a 10 by, it was either 24 or 32, and then threw a few screws in. But essentially, this allows me to take this piece here and mount it to the table saw. And to get this thing in, it's a little bugger to get this thing exactly lined up, but once you have it lined up, I just drew some red marks on there so it's lined up for the piece. And you're going to notice on the side here, I did taper the piece down here, so as the piece comes in, it's going to lift up underneath, and then it's going to drop as soon as the piece gets past it. So just to give you a little demonstration of how this thing works, I'm going to zoom out here so you can see. Take a piece of wood here, and I'm going to come in from underneath and I put it against my fence, which is going to lift up this little piece of wood. As I push it through, the new Jessam clear-cut table wheels are going to push it into the fence and push it down to the table And as I come closer, gonna switch hands here. I'm gonna push this through. You'll notice as I get closer, see I'm still quite a ways from the blade. As I get closer, that piece is going to drop right here, which it just dropped. As soon as it dropped, now I can take advantage of the built-in push stick, which I've got back here. I'm just gonna take this here and I'm gonna push it through. And as we go through, we come up to the end of the table, I'm past the blade, and I'm catching right here, but I'm already past the blade. Even with the blade all the way up, that's gonna end about here. So I'm a good inch or two past the blade. So my fingers never had to get close to this. So it's a really slick built-in device that just pushes forward and feeds your piece in. I hope that what you saw is gonna help you in your woodworking shop. It's gonna be a finger changer. I know that a lot of people are afraid to use a table saw and they're gonna run out and buy a saw stop because of this, and nothing bad about saw stop. If I hadn't invested in this, I would have bought one probably myself. But I have heard of people accidentally using a wet piece of wood and cutting through, and the blade drops down. The brakes come in, they meld right into the blade, so you just lost a $100 blade and a $300 or $400 cartridge that you have to replace. So it can be quite expensive. I love my table saw, and with this new jig, I think it's going to be a game changer because it's going to keep my fingers away from the blade. Post your comments below and let me know what you think. Have a great day, and see you from See What I Saw Woodwork.